Hi, I'm Mark from InvisiblePeople.tv, and this election season we're hearing a lot of talk, but not a lot of talk about homelessness and poverty from either side. So I grabbed my camera and went down to Los Angeles Mission and Skid Row, and also here in Glendale at a homeless shelter called Essentia, and asked a few of our homeless friends what are the issues that are important to them. Catherine, you're a registered nurse and you've been homeless for a while.
Yes.
What should the politicians be focusing on that they aren't?
Programs funding for education so future generations don't end up like this.
What issues are most important to you?
There's an awful lot of important issues. Education, as I said, is extremely important. Don't make it so hard to pay back loans. Don't stomp on people for graduating college and put them in a no-paying job. Come on, give the future generation a chance to support us old folks. I mean, I've worked 2 and 3 jobs at a time to support my kids. They had to grow up and join the military to ensure their, future. Almost lost a son in Iraq twice, and now he's having problems getting the government to pay for his education. So,
what are the issues that they're not talking about this year that you
they're
feel
not okay? I feel like they need to put more emphasis on low-income housing, and on oh God, what was the other thing I said? Housing. People need to have a roof over their head. You keep pushing people out into the street, taking their homes away from them, taking their livelihoods away from them. There's not enough jobs, and if they are, you're not being allowed to apply for them for whatever reason. Then you're being knocked down before you even get there.
Jeffrey, you're living in a homeless shelter, but you have a job. What should politicians be talking about that you feel they're not?
The first thing is reinstating the Glass-Steagall Act to separate the investment part of the bank with the actual consumer part, because the Wall Street is like a big club, and it's fixed.
The biggest thing is putting people to work, and there are, I think we need to create incentives for American companies to create American jobs.
Wanda, you're living in a homeless shelter. You're working homeless, working poor. You have a job. What issues are important to you that you're not hearing politicians talk about?
Medical. That's a big issue for me because I work part-time, and it's like I just qualified for medical. So for people that are homeless, they can't get Medi-Cal anymore. You know what I mean? It's hard. Schools, California has so much resource, and we're always helping other countries. We need to help California. Look at all the people that are homeless down there sleeping on sidewalks on Skid Row. It shouldn't be like that.
Nikki and Scott, you're homeless down here on Skid Row. What is the issues in this election that you're not hearing?
We're not hearing anything. The only thing we hear is when we try to ask for help or anything, it's just getting turned down time after time after time. We hear nothing about no elections, no nothing that's going on in the government, nothing.
Unless you watch the news.
Yeah. So you've been on the streets now 3 days, and
I didn't even know anything about an election.
Right.
So, that just goes to show that, who's informed and who's not informed. We're all citizens, so we all should be informed.
And that's a huge issue that people aren't informed.
Yeah.
And then the people that matter the most are I believe are the people that are on the streets that don't have anything, that that can contribute the
Right.
most. And
those are the ones that aren't going to vote.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right, and you have to know who to vote for, and it seems like you only hear about the good stuff and all the promises, but there's really no
don't-
promises for the average person, which nowadays this is the average
You're
person.
more concerned with surviving.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, definitely.
yeah.
What issues are important to you in the upcoming election?
The housing, of being homeless. I will be homeless effective on the 31st of this month, and trying to find low-cost housing is difficult here.
Mainly cleaning up our streets and helping the homeless find places that are affordable them, that can be affordable to them, and just helping people in general getting their lives together.
Yeah, the most important to me would be education for everybody, you know, more like because with education we can overcome any poverty.
We're here on Skid Row. What are the important issues in this upcoming election?
The economy, getting the economy back right for the unfortunate, for the poor, for the middle class, for the class that thought they wasn't the middle class. You know, furthermore, it's housing, you know, helping people keep their houses, the people that lost their houses and stuff. And basically for a lot of these single mothers with kids.
You've seen a lot more single moms with kids down here on Skid Row?
Yes, sir, and something needs to be addressed with that issue.
Insurance, medical insurance, housing is important to me, and employment. Not necessarily in those order, but those are important issues to me.
Well, what's the most important? Especially we're down here on Skid Row.
Me, employment is the most important.
Well, I feel like it should be more about, you know, more job opportunities, more, you know, sports and stuff for the kids to have something to do to keep the community more busy, you know, to keep, you know, a lot of, you know, violence off the streets and stuff like that.
Well, this coming up election, I think job opportunities, because coming from the inner city, if we have more jobs opening up, you know, that give, you know, the youngsters that's coming out of school an opportunity to go get, you know, a job before the summertime or after the summertime. And so and that not only will a job will be good for the youngsters, even for the older people, it'll stop the crime rate. And, you know, we won't have to go out there and sell drugs or be incarcerated in jail or prison due to the lack of finances to try to feed our families.
You're a veteran down here on Skid Row.
Yes, sir.
What's the important issues in this upcoming election?
What they should be or what they are?
What they should be.
What they should be is taking care of our own, stop worrying about going to war with these other countries and worry about the United States. What's going on here? I mean, we're having a war right here within ourselves, in which we should be concerned about instead of worried about overseas, and bring our jobs back from overseas and keep our jobs right here, because we got more homeless people and people without jobs. I mean, we're worried about other countries when we need to worry about ourselves.
Yeah, basically, sometimes they want to talk about the homeless people and their conditions and stuff like that, but a person is not going to allow you to help them unless you help their condition first. So it's basically their condition that needs the help first. So if it's a person that needs housing, these are the people that need housing. If it's a person that needs health care, they need health care, and then you can speak to them. But you can't speak to a person unless you deal with their housing. I mean, their condition first.
Have you heard it? Any politicians talk about any of this?
Well, no. I think they're talking about more health care. I'm hoping that they speak more about health care more than they're doing their political issues right about now. They're trying to tell us how better they are than the other guy, instead of just pressing the issues about what's happening now in the United States. And basically what's happening now, people are losing their homes, you know, people are losing their jobs, and they're becoming homeless. So that's the last issue right now, is homelessness. So after you finish with the homelessness and you're dealing with their conditions and their problems, then you can meet the community and say, okay, well, I'm the right guy to elect. But if you don't meet if you don't meet those issues, I don't think that it's proper for you to talk about, you know, that you need to be elected if you're not helping the people that's trying to elect you.
What I think is the most important that I learned from trying to produce this segment which is one of the hardest segments that I've ever had to produce, was how many homeless people just don't vote. And I would assume that's not just homeless people. It's a lot of low-income people and probably even a lot of middle-class people. And the reason is they feel powerless. More, everybody's hurting these days. The economy's not better, jobs not better. And people are like, why vote? The other big issue that I ran into was many of our homeless friends just aren't informed. Street homeless obviously are, they don't have steady access to the internet or television, so many of them just didn't know of the issues. And sheltered homeless, like here in the shelter at Essentia, there's one television for 40 people, and at night they're watching movies. So they're not watching the Republican convention or the Democratic convention, and they're not watching the nightly news. So they're really uninformed. And I think that's something that we have to change. I mean, people in poverty and people that are homeless are the ones that need change the most. They really need their voice heard in this election and future elections. But they're so hurting and they're so beat down, they just don't care. And to me, the real crisis, and I was shocked. I mean, during this production, I worked on it for about 2 weeks and interviewed hundreds of people, and by far, majority of them just said, I don't vote, I don't care. I'm homeless, why should I care? One gentleman said, last time I voted was Clinton, and after that I became homeless, and it doesn't matter anymore. So as a society, we really need to focus on empowering people that don't have much influence to have more influence.